A very good afternoon to all of you. I hope all of you are back after the lunch. Now is the time for the day one theme talk of the 7th International Conference on Multidisciplinary Approaches ICMA 2020. Today we have an expert to educate us about functional foods against viral infections. A very timely topic, I must say, especially with this COVID-19 pandemic. So here we have our own food science specialist, a proud production of the Department of Food Science and Technology, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, Senior Professor KKDS Ranavira. Senior Professor Ranavira is the chair of one of the very innovative departments in University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, competing tie to tie with the food industry, winning national and international competitions. Not only that, he is the immediate former president of the Institute of Food Science and Technology, Sri Lanka, and a resource person, a reviewer for the AHEAD program, Acceleration, Higher Education Expansion and Development Program, Ministry of Education and Higher Education, Sri Lanka. Professor Ranavira is being awarded special academic and professional awards nearly every year, including Presidential Awards, National Science Foundation Sastrid Awards, National Research Council Awards, as well as University Research Awards. Also, he is an innovator with several patents and supervised more than 50 postgraduate research projects throughout his career. Senior Professor KKDS Ranavira, sir, we are honored to have you here with us today. I cordially invite Senior Professor Ranavira to deliver the most timely theme talk on functional foods against viral infections. Also, I would like to invite Senior Professor Patpalal Manage, Professor Jayantha Jayasiri, and Dr. Isuru Wijayasekara as the panelists of the present session. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all. And instead, I would like to wish you a very healthy life in the light of COVID-19. My topic is functional foods that can be useful in working against viruses and also another part into it, which is non-communicable diseases. At the end of the day, our target should be for promoting health and well-being, and also protecting against health emergencies and not encouraging metabolic syndrome. So Sri Lankans as other countries as international nationals suffering from cluster of risk factors for metabolic syndromes, which can lead to non-communicable diseases unless you address them. So if something goes wrong for them, we have to address the issues associated with non-communicable diseases. And most importantly, which is very important nowadays, which is strengthening immunity system and overall to stay healthy and young. Very recently in Italy, a study revealed that the majority in the sense more than 96% patients having COVID died because of NCDs. NCDs can make things complicated, so they hardly could stand against COVID complications and they died. So, by NCDs mean non-communicable diseases, mainly diabetes, then heart diseases, chronic kidney diseases, and cancers. So they are culprits. So as you see, when we talk about the immunity, when we talk about the complications of COVID, we are compared to talk disease in the very beginning. So, association of COVID-19 severity and non-communicable diseases that this picture can remain in many countries including Spain, China, USA and so on. Therefore, so things are not easy as we expect from medicines which can work on against against COVID. To begin with, I would like to pay your attention. About 10,000 years ago, the dead man, ate what was compatible with their genes. Now, after about 10,000 years, now our genes have changed very minimum. Yes, very minimum, not very drastic changes, but what we eat is very different than what we ate then. So this gap can be the reason for all these complications, non-communicable diseases. So that is how the scientists in the world try to reason out the reason why we are suffering from non-communicable diseases, which is the major cause for death in present context. So, therefore, so dietary intervention to prevent NCEs is one way out. So by dietary prevention, I mean good food habits, and then health promoting foods, disease preventing foods, immune boosting foods. So these are the things that we can pay attention in today's talk. My presentation has been broken down into three areas. One is glycation, which I will discuss in detail. Or end result is diabetes. And then what are the precautions, what are the steps that we can take? That is number one priority. And the second one is reactive oxygen species, so we call free radicals, which can cause many problems, including cancer. So, and then third one is poor immunity itself. So we may have a poor immune system which have poor responses to different microbial attacks. So therefore, so as a result, as a way out, we have to think of having immune boosting approach. So glycation is nothing but combining it with glucose. So as you see now in bakery products, in barbecue, in what you call potato chips, very attractive color, brown color we see. That is a result of combination between sugar and protein. Okay. So that is very attractive. That make foods attractive. So it means the reactions between proteins and sugar. Simply speaking, that was found long time ago. A scientist called Maillard reaction. That is, they have Maillard reactions. Okay. So Maillard browning can give value to the foods. That is on one hand. The same kind of reactions can take place in our body also. Whenever we have sugar, we have full of proteins. So then there will be reactions taken place between sugar and protein, which can be a problem. So simply speaking, that is called glycation. As a result of glycation, so in our body through our proteins. So these proteins can combine with excess sugars and make product called shift-based product. So this reaction still can be reversed. And the shift-based product, so-called shift-based product, can also further polymerize into the called amidone products. From that point onwards, still sticking and polymerization and many processing proteins can be formed. So then we have a group of compound called advanced glycation end product. Advanced glycation end product, which are phosphates. This is the problem. Problem is not having sugar in our blood, but problem is a result of the elevated blood glucose level. We can produce a series of compounds called advanced glycation end product. So far, no positive attributes of advanced glycation end products are found. It means all the stories that we hear from scientific studies are very discouraging. So, we say similar way, even fat can combine with protein, as protein can combine with the sugar. Fat also can be said. So therefore, this advanced glycation end products or advanced lipoxidation with lipids, lipoxidation end product can be very harmful. Now there are approaches, dietary approaches. So as I mentioned, so these shift-based products again can be reversed back to the starting point. For even amidone products can be reversed. So therefore, they are reversible. They are reversible. So it means if we are to intervene, we have to intervene at this point, not later. So after that, as I mentioned, it's irreversible reactions can take place. Irreversible reactions can take place. Okay, what are the problems? Now AGE, for example, can damage small capillaries, which can make leaky. That is just one consequence. Okay. So they are AGE is in the sense advanced glycation end product. AGE is so they are pathophysiology of many metabolic diseases. They are causes for many metabolic diseases like diabetes mellitus, special type 2, then acute renal failure, kidney problems, Alzheimer's diseases, and then dental health, allergies, and so on. You see, these are the diseases nowadays we suffer. We entertain in our life. So, glycated collagen protein. So, in our muscles and in our body, we have collagen protein. So, they can also be glycated, means combined with glucose. So, this can of course reduce the skin elasticity. That is, we can say premature aging. Premature aging. So, an advanced glycation end product also can be associated with ischemic heart diseases. Ulna combined with ulna linked with muscles and kidney failure. So, similarly, AG is also can imitate action of hormones. So, mislead our body reactions, right? So, thereby changing the regulation and modify the receptor mechanisms at cellular level and DNA level. which can cause another set of problems. So in women especially, high AGEs, high advanced glycation end products, can cause ovarian dysfunctions and also infertility. I'm just figuring out there is a few consequences of AGE, but there are many. When we talk of AGEs, they can be indigenous and exogenous. Indigenous is what is inside our body, what we produce, and also what we take with foods. Exogenous. So exogenous AGEs can long last. For example, if we have barbecue, so AG is ready made there. That is available. So as I mentioned, all these can be we can take from exogenous. So processed foods, beverages, and other items. Right. So these are the things that we can take. We can receive from outside. So it means we can increase the pool of AGEs inside our body if we consume this kind of foods. That is why scientists always try to explain or say that don't eat lots of processed foods. That's one of the reasons. And stressful conditions and continuous workaholic environment. That is how we are now. We are workaholic and we compromise our health, and what will happen is, as a result, consumption of pre-prepared, processed, delicious foods. So, processed food means AGEs. So, it means there are chances that we are getting from that. That's the thing. Street foods, junk foods, all these are full of AGEs. But I think now we have to start talking of AGEs in these foods. The presence of AGEs in wide range of foods, products like biscuits, bread, cheeses, and peanut butter, processed meats, grilled chicken, fried potatoes, you can have a big list. Similarly, what I'm trying to show is there are many different foods. There is starchy foods and also like French fries, and then even coffee, potato chips, even juices. Okay. Even milk. I will come to a point where we can be shocked to hear that. So milk formula also can make AGEs. So as I mentioned, many things are there, and also cookies, carbonated soft drinks, they are having this kind of AGEs. Now sadly, now the process, whenever we process milk, liquid milk in powder, so we use high temperatures. So this high temperature can make AGEs. It's okay with us. We drink, we consume milk formula, what is available in the market, no problem. But when it comes to supplements for infants, kids, so we have to think twice whether you go ahead with breast milk and other natural things than be dependent on supplementary milk formula. So also AGEs, advanced glycation in products, AGEs can provoke endothelial dysfunction and enhance collagen formation in vascular walls in arteries, veins. So which can cause coronary artery, which can cause also coronary artery diseases and heart diseases. So therefore, whenever you have diabetes, whenever you have increased level of glucose, you can expect anything to happen in our body. This is the list. Advanced glycation end products means you have many things. AG is as a result of diabetes, as a result of unattended diabetes. So with that, neuropathy, retinopathy, Parkinson, cataract, insulin resistance, you name any disease, it is there. You see how dangerous this is. That is why even sometimes scientists used to say diabetes is silent killer. So where it happens, where AG is occurring, there you can get the problem. If it is in eye, it's cataract. If it is in kidney, it's kidney problem. If it is in heart, artery, especially coronary artery, it's heart attack, stroke, something like that. It is very dangerous. So almost all systems are attacked, can be attacked, but it doesn't mean that all systems are simultaneously attacked. Maybe one system is vulnerable, can be victimized, can be victimized from this. So therefore, we can have either one or maybe couple of complications due to advanced glycation and products formation. Now, again, I am going back to this slide. It means glucose and protein or sugar and protein make sheep-based products, and which can make amidoid products. Still, this is reversible. We can intervene there, especially we can nutritional intervene. So therefore, this is the place that we can get hold of. So here, there are certain bioactive compounds which we can utilize to intervene, namely chlorogenic acid, gallic acid, I come later, caffeic acid, catechins and quercetins. Before I come to this point, I would like to say that plants, if you take plants do produce protein, carbohydrate. So it is the food that we eat. In addition to food that we eat, so we will say carbohydrate, plant also produce certain very specific compounds that is based on their genetic makeup. That is why we have biodiversity. Neem or cohoman is bitter taste. Cinnamon having very good flavor, right? Kottavalli or coriander having now medicinal properties. Nutmeg, myristicin, having medicinal value. Nowadays it is in the center of attraction. Sadika. Likewise, different plants have different properties due to different chemical compounds contained in their cells. They are called secondary metabolites. So therefore, when we talk of any medicinal plant, this is all about secondary metabolites. So therefore, secondary metabolites are there. Secondary metabolites are produced to protect the plants themselves. Protect from whom? Protect from herbivores. Otherwise, herbivores eat the plants. So being bitter, being toxic, so they can prevent from eating them. And also, there are certain compounds can support the survival in drought. Likewise, these chemical compounds or secondary metabolites can help to work to stand against unfavorable conditions. For example, there are so many pigments that help to stand high heat coming from sun, coming especially ultraviolet radiation. So protection from them. That's why we are also using them as protective compounds. Therefore, the series of, I am talking only a few, series of secondary metabolites of equal bioactive compounds are very important, and most of them help us in many ways. One thing is working against glycation in products. They don't allow the formation of glycation in products. That's the thing. So chlorogenic acid, gallic acid, and then caffeic acid, catechine, quercetin, and so on. So this is the thing. Now, unless we match or unless we manage with exogenous and or endogenous AGEs with our mechanism to reduce them, we will be covered. That can cause big problems. I think we end up with many different non-communicable diseases. So, therefore, this inquiry can be made at this point. So, compounds like chlorogenic acid, gallic acid, and caffeic acid, catechins, and also many other compounds can help in that sense. So they reverse the AG formation back to initial state. That is what they do. So if you see here, at this point, so glyoxal and beta glyoxal compounds, at this point they can reverse back to these reactions, so that we can be protected from not happening any further formation of AGEs. Similarly, gallic acid also will be the same. Gallic acid also will be the same, and also this caffeic acid also will be almost all are doing the same. But our point is this now. Gallic acid means we can take them from, not supplements, from natural foods. From natural foods, for example, tea, apples, pears, eggplant, pigeons, and blueberries, tomatoes, strawberries, potatoes, carrots, and so on. So they are rich in chlorogenic acid. If we consume them along with our daily meals, so we can have all these things. Why I am not happy with supplements? Supplements mean they are in pure form, in free form, which can cause many other problems. But when these compounds are available in matrix of the plant, so availability is very, of course, availability is not very much, very poor. Digestion has to fight with that, but there won't be any problem like taking excessive amounts. Whenever we take supplements, sometimes it can lead to toxic effects. But here, whenever we take things in natural form, we hardly hear that anyone died of eating something more natural. That's okay. And gallic acid means red fruits, red color fruits, radish, rabu, and black and green peas, and onion, and so on. So this caffeic acid means, of course, coffee. That even the name came from that caffeic acid. Coffee, tea, wine. Why I say that wine, grapes, it's okay, but also there's a saying called French paradox. French, they eat lots of meat, especially beef and other red meat, but they have hardly a heart problem. Only one reason being consuming red that wine. So that is the reason. That was the bioactive compound, not wine itself, the bioactive compound will help them to make them healthy. And turmeric, today turmeric is very important and very scarcity. I think now. Turmeric, I come back to turmeric later also. Basil and oregano, cabbage, apple, strawberries, cauliflower. So you can have a big list of them that contain fatty acid. All these are reversing back this glycation and transformation. Catechins. Catechins mean tea. Tea. Now, tea again came to center of attraction. Why? Tea catechins are now we found that they can fight with COVID virus, right? So it's now almost full. That's why even Sri Lanka has a good liberty if you are playing it properly. So this tea can help sometimes to fight with this virus. So in addition to tea, fish, or fruits, and gooseberries, grapes, kiwi, strawberries, and so many things are there which can contain catechins if it is so. But I am here talking only properties working against glycation and product. But there are many other health effects also that can expect from these bioactive compounds. For example, so this blood-brain barrier regulations. There are so many other things which I am not going to talk because we don't have time. And then uh, then likewise we have ginger, onion, garlic. I go by single thing, and tamarind, beer, belly, and kiwi fruits, of course. Now it's available in supermarket, and tea, chilies, and so on. And Central Asiatica, good quality. Very important. Again, important one to fight with fight with glycation. Or we can say they are anti-glycation product. Likewise, even jambu is one very good one. And the most important another bioactive is called quercetin. Quercetin, in addition to being anti-glycation bioactive, it also can help to boost our immunity, and also it helps to prevent cancers. Okay? Because its structure is such that it can accommodate very reactive chemical part or free radicals. So therefore, stereochemistry says that it is very potent antioxidant. Okay. Then, so quercetin, in addition to being anti-AGE, so they also have some other activities, therapeutic activities. Now, this slide says how compounds can intervene in our body. Now, here it is a cross section of part of cell. Okay, so compounds coming from outside, so they can come and land on receptors. So, as a result of this combination, inside cell, secondary messages can be created. Some of these messages can even go into nucleus and trigger certain genes. Right? It means by the activating or inhibiting both. So therefore, this is how these bioactive compounds work. So especially quercetin is very good example for that. So quercetin can modulate signal transaction pathways and even prevent cancer formation. That's why I thought it's very important compound quercetin. So there are many different properties of quercetin which we don't have to talk because time is limit. And then onion. Onion means onion, red apple, wine, moringa, asparagus, tomato, so these are rich in quercetin. Okay. And then the second culprit, that is free radicals, we call reactive oxygen species. Radical means a molecule that has unpaired electron. Free radical means when it exists independent. So free radicals are very reactive, very aggressive, very destructive. If we get free radicals from our food, so we can have lots of problems, including cancers. So this is the thing. Therefore, there should be way out. Right? So especially the oxygen. Oxygen means by nature, oxygen is biradical. It means there are two unpaired electrons in surrounding oxygen molecule. So therefore, there are chances that it also can cause many other free radicals. That's why we call reactive oxygen species. Right? So, what is the way out? Oxygen species. So this is the thing. This slide explains you. Now once free radical starts, it tries to grab electron from neighboring molecule. So that neighboring molecule can become free radical. What it does is take electron from each neighboring molecule. Likewise, it can go as chain. We call chain reaction. So this chain reaction can end up at DNA molecule point. If this DNA molecule can be damaged. Therefore, we have to stop it. So this free radical, it means to quench them or to scavenge them. That should be molecule. We call them as antioxidants. So this process is called oxidation. So those who work oxidate against the oxidation we call antioxidant. So antioxidant means these compounds can donate oxygen electron, thereby what we call relieving the free radical thirst for electron. Good example is vitamin E. Another example is vitamin C. Right? And also there are many antioxidants. There are many antioxidants which we even don't know at the moment. They are in plants. So whatever we eat plants, whatever we eat different color plants. In some cases we are asked to eat rainbow color fruits and vegetables. All these are antioxidants. All these are antioxidants. So it means we have different antioxidants. One is minerals. Now, in this COVID, we are recommended to take selenium, zinc. All these are antioxidant minerals. They support in our body to do lots of antioxidant reaction. The other one is antioxidant vitamins, as I mentioned, vitamin C, vitamin E, and so on. And then we need. I would like to talk a few words about it. Vitamin E means it's fat soluble vitamin, and it's very important to protect our cell membrane. The cell membrane means phospholipids, lipids. So lipids always can be oxidized or make them rancid. Okay, rancid. Again, so we become rancid. So to stop that rancidity, we should have antioxidants. So vitamin E can help us in that sense. So in addition to vitamin E, of course, all fruits and vegetables being antioxidants can help us to work against oxidation. That's the thing. The third point is phytochemicals. So in addition to vitamins, in addition to minerals, all other set of where these things are working, working against oxidation, working against oxidation. Uh, this is what I mentioned now in our cell body. Okay, so it's antioxidation is taken place in many ways. So here you see different minerals help us in I think we are going in detail as we try to detail. So this is how vitamin E can change the pathway of reactive oxidant free radicals. So these are the fruits and vegetables rich in vitamin E. Okay, vitamin E. You get bell pepper and then pepper and also avocado. So what is so you see the list there. So all these are rich in vitamin E. So we don't need to be dependent on supplements. Vitamin C, the other one, vitamin C. Vitamin C, in addition to breaking the antioxidant chain, oxidation chain, they also can help to regenerate vitamin E because whenever vitamin E works with free radical, they become oxidized. And then reduce. Then what you call to regenerate it, vitamin C helps us. So these are the things which foods rich in vitamin C. Right? And then by also you can take lots of information in different scientific information to prove that plants. Every plant you name, this plant may have one more of you antioxidant compounds. Antioxidant compounds. Right. And then among them, beta carotene. Beta carotene is very strong antioxidant. Beta carotene is a pigment. Beta carotene is available on cells, on plant cells, in fruits and even leaves. As I mentioned, they can protect even the heavy sunlight, protect the cells, leaf cells from heavy sunlight, heat. So these are the foods and vegetables rich in beta carotene. By beta carotene, virtually these two vitamin A molecules, they are what we call pro-vitamin A. And the other one is there is another pigment called lycopene. Lycopene, especially available in tomato, in watermelon, and so this is the thing now. Lycopene is more available in sources because heat treatment can help to be released into the from the matrix. So therefore, bell pepper and mangoes, so red cabbage. So these are the other one is anthocyanin. So purple, red, blue, purple color flowers and leaves they contain this. Nowadays, anthocyanin is becoming very popular because of it. They are in addition to being antioxidant, they are also antiviral properties. They have antiviral properties. Right? So these are the fruits and vegetables containing anthocyanin. Red cabbage, onion, pomegranate, and brinjal. Most importantly, sweet potato. Sweet potato is very important. You can't restrict anything because they all are very important. And the other antioxidant available in our body is glutathione. It is available throughout our body. Therefore, we have to support their existence. Therefore, we can support their existence by having different antioxidants from foods. Then we reduce the pressure on glutathione alone. That is how we can do it. We also can take from outside as supplements, but we also can promote their work and their work as antioxidant in our body. Very important one. And then I just want to take one example. We have also studied 34 leaf vegetables. Out of them, 6 leaf vegetables. For that, they have very strong antioxidant capacity. One are they? For example, Kathurumurunga, Sesbania glandiforme, Dinama glandiferum is Purinia, and then passion fruit, and then Cassia argila granavara, and then Moringa, Moria curry leaves, and then Malapal. So these are very strong antioxidants. Okay, let me switch to my third part of the lecture, poor immunity. So, if we have weak nutritional pattern style, we of course become very vulnerable to infections. So, NMEC, it means we have compromised immunity system, immune function. So, therefore, getting things are very important. Now, when I prepared my lecture, my talk to this webinar, I also went through to see whether supplements can help in that sense to boost the immunity. There are some rare studies to support, not support, to say that supplements hardly can help us. Supplements hardly can help us. So, but of course, there are some articles to support it, but there are many that not support, doesn't support the idea of supplement taking in this. Okay. Sound is not clear. Also to so. And then we therefore because if we are deficient in micronutrients, not carbohydrate, not lipid, not protein, micronutrients, okay, like vitamins and minerals, if you have deficiencies, of course we become very vulnerable to this. So therefore, we have to make sure that our diet can contain all these micronutrients. Is another thing. COVID occur in embryo patients with underlying this called comorbidities. It means not a single disease, maybe couple of diseases, several diseases together. So they are vulnerable to more complications. As you see, we watch our TV, always say having lots of complications, the diet had lots of problems, especially in CDs, right? Especially diabetes. So then, I think if I from this point I would stop, and if you have any question, right? But one thing I would like to emphasize, first thing means Curcumin is antioxidant, antimicrobial, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, and most importantly, antiviral properties. So therefore, nowadays, curcumin is very important and very much is in the center of attraction. Curcumin. Uh, Usually, how they do is curcumin uh, can fight with COVID-19. So, yet studies are now coming up. One problem is curcumin is not readily available. So another study shows that curcumin with pepper. So then they can increase the bioavailability. But whenever we eat plus turmeric plus pepper. So then availability will become more ready. Okay. With this, another now vericicin, sardica, nutmeg. So this compound called vericicin, and capsaicin means bioactive compound from cheese, pepper, and then curcumin, and then cheese from tea, right? Quercetin from, as I mentioned. Now there are, these are called docking studies using computational chemistry. So they support that they can bind with active site of viruses, thereby reduce the viral effect. So I think this can support our dietary intervention in that sense. This also support coriander, or we call kottamanni. I think with this I will stop my talk. I am pleased. If I know anything to ask me, I am pleased to explain or share with this with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for a great presentation. You mentioned some varieties of plant-derived compounds. So recently, there are some herbal decoctions we recently introduced that contain coriander, nutmeg, and neem honey. So what's your view on it?
Well, it's very good question because people have lots of queries on this issue. I would like to say this way. I got the recipe of this, and that is mainly, as you correctly mentioned, coriander, nutmeg, and bee honey are the things, and its decoction. All these are either singly or maybe together, no problem. But one thing, whether it can really help the COVID situation is still needs to be studied, because now we are getting vaccine maybe in week of next year. So to develop that vaccine, I think they have taken lots of time. So here, even as I mentioned, docking studies, maybe through computational chemistry, to study the effect of this and all these things, and then going to cell line, and then animal studies, and then human studies. So the series of studies should be taken into the action rather than introducing it. But all these are natural plants, natural, even honey is, of course, it has medicinal value. So, all of a sudden, to come up with the formula and going to the society, claiming that it helps COVID to cure COVID, I think it's too early to say that. But of course, it might or it might not. So therefore, all of the responsible bodies, organization should take this and have an overall approach and to study before before having any concluding remarks on it. I think that is the best way to do. As a responsible society, we should do that. I'm sure this is why, after all, COVID is viral infection. So, most, I know, even in our case, I think over 90% COVID victims cured. That is the nature of viral infection. So, if you look after the patient carefully, so then start that we have way to cure. That happens with dengue, that happens with any other thing. So that is matter of management at the moment. So during this period, if you give even water, it can be helpful in that sense. So that claim without having any scientific base is too early for us to decide on it. This is my own personal view. Thank you.
First of all, actually, personal methods of thinking from the presentation. Thank you so much. First of all, I have to thank you, sir. So I have a small question. By now, food culture, food habit, daily life, how do we identify, introduce as intangible cultural heritage? So according to that, the social scientists as well as other experts have done lots of research on. So accordingly, suppose we have to identify the cultural background of the country. So according to that, so then by now you explain. Actually, there are no words about that. Scientifically, you explain of culturally, we have done of research. The thing is that my question is say, but still we don't have the proper mechanism to apply these things to the society, to the community. I know that senior professor that do you have any opinion, idea about that? How do we introduce, how do we apply these medical theories and concepts to attributes to the society, to the community?
Thank you very much. I am very much thankful for the question that you asked me. I am also a very strong believer of conceiving natural foods closer to our culture than going behind processed foods. At the beginning of my talk, I also mentioned that there is a saying called food came before medicine. So 10,000 years ago, even beyond that, we didn't have therapeutic medicine, right? Because we ate everything that is possible to eat and is possible to digest, and all these plants and maybe other things helped us. So it is that then later, when the society got diversified into other areas, so then we have now pharmaceuticals, we have nutraceuticals, we have cosmeceuticals. All these are coming as businesses now. Now, earlier we were completely dependent on natural foods, which was compatible with our culture. So as you correctly mentioned, you have to eat what is available in your vicinity. That is even more compatible with your genes, right? In other part of the world, sometimes what is grown in that part of the world may be not compatible with our genes. Now, one of the first two slides mentioned before 10,000 years, what they ate was very compatible with their genes. But now what we eat is not compatible. So this is the reason why we have lots of problems like HCV. So therefore, it's high time for us to think again, revisit these values, revisit and also implement where possible food culture. Okay, and for so many things, I think why now people are going back to this? Why now people are going back to organic farming from intensified agriculture? So there are reasons. There are scientific reasons now. So earlier, what we did was like we went behind money, money making. Now, of course, always giant countries, they push to market economy and so many things, but at the end of the day, that is not the life. Life is, why would like to mention one thing? In Italy, there is one woman called slow food. It means that the organization is trying to promote what we produce, what we prepare naturally, not processed foods, right? So it says that there are many things that can be useful, that can be healthy products, that can help us to have a healthy nation. I think we have to go for that. Sri Lanka is still a country where these things can be implemented because we are not that customized. Of course, there are certain societies in our country, they are irreversibly customized, but majority is still thinking the same way you mentioned. Thank you very much.
So, I think your talk is very valuable during this pandemic situation because the people talk about the immunity and the natural foods and the traditional foods and other things. But also you clearly explain the antioxidant and anti-cancer effect of all these functional foods. So then my question is, so then usually we usually we eat most of vegetables and fruit you mentioned. So that is why I think that is the reason why we are quite resist when compared with other European countries. So therefore then my this other question, what is your message to give our people? So because we have a lot of green food, vegetables and foods. So then in this situation, so what is your message to give us? I mean, so then in your presentation you mentioned, but the meat and the proteins and other things are not this so much very important for the viral and the resistance. I mean against the viral. So then this is very important because the people now. So we are see myself. So we are thinking about how we can increase, I mean, the immunity, the boosting. So do you have any message to the community in your experience? So then we have a lot of fruits and vegetables in the country.
Yeah, I think these natural plants are medicine manufacturing factories. As I mentioned, they produce at least one or two very valuable bioactive compounds, which are either anti-glycation properties, which have either glycation properties, antioxidant properties, or anti-cancer properties. Right. So therefore, we don't need to go beyond beyond the Indian Ocean to find better foods for us. What is being eaten nowadays? As I'm trying to say, the natural ones, natural fruits, vegetables, and also there are many underutilized fruits. We are not worried about it. For example, Belarus, Indian olive. So it's full of antioxidants. You see, therefore, but only thing, one thing is eating fruits and vegetables. What is available to us. Second thing is cultivating them organically. Even now, very unfortunately, even what we call herbal medicines, they are cultivated while applying agrochemical. So then, are you getting the same effect from this? It's a question. Therefore, because we have gone to that far that we compromise all these human qualities and this is many of we even cultivate. In my public lectures, I used to say for food winters, it's being overlooked, but it is very serious what you call issue if you are giving if you the poison them. It's a question. And another thing, it's I mean you have overlooked all these qualities. So these are the things and we don't need to nowadays I think even the COVID-19 I like this situation because even I myself started now cultivating lots of things now home garden. So home garden is a very good thing. We can make it as a natural pharmacy. Natural pharmacy. Because whenever we do home gardening, we are not using any applying not any equipment and also all organic farming. So these are the things. So of course, giant cultivating, manufacturing, and people they are doing with agrochemicals, but we can still can be dependent on our own. So this is how we can start. So this message has to be correctly mentioned. This message should be given to the public. Now today my message is eat natural things, eat according to your consciousness. Prepare for food vendors, prepare your products for the customers or consumers according to your consciousness. Think that is producing for your children, your kids, not to outside who are like enemies, enemies. So therefore, better always live with your consciousness. Then we can find because as you mentioned correctly, it's not food alone, it's culture, it's religion, it's beliefs and so on. So all together if you can work, appreciating all these qualities and facts, I'm sure that is the way to healthy life. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention. I want to know about the South Asian countries, including Sri Lanka and India. We have like a lot of very low level of death rate from corona. But when considering some countries in South America, some West European countries, even China, which has like a high rate of death of corona. Do you believe that there is some relationship between the food culture and the all coming in the reason for having like a very low level of weight from corona?
There should be, but it's a scientific proof and wrong. But what I'm trying to explain to your question is this. One thing even Professor Patna, you asked me this. We can cook fish. I didn't take much but I would say fish like tuna, herrings, sardinia. So they are good in the sense they contain omega-3 fatty acids, which can help in that sense. But meat, especially red meat, one thing is problem. Now, usually when our genes should work in response to the environment. Okay, this environment can be external environment or even internal environment also. Whatever we eat, and become an environment for genes to work. So if we eat something like meat and meat and meat, so you get lots of problems. Some problems has a meaning called nutrigenomics. It says eat according to your genes. Eat according to your genes. If you don't eat according to your genes, you will eat your genes in different from mine. Okay? It means we have customized nutrition. But what we use today, mass scale nutrition, what we doing, it's not the case. Even why drugs are not very successful, because we are having single drug for everybody without considering your difference. So, but now this why, because genes interacting with the food may not do the work that we expect. There is another term called DNA methylation. It means DNA or genes can become silent if we take bad foods. So why similarly there are many ways that we can stop good genes work and promote bad genes work. That's a meaning for good genes and bad genes. Okay? For example, it's a program inside our body. So it can happen, it can be triggered if we eat something wrong. These are the things. Genetically, we support that gene to work by eating unnecessary things. Now, maybe one thing is food, the other thing is maybe genes. All these Asian countries, we have some resistance to COVID. Maybe that's the reason.
Thank you very much, sir, for your most enlightening and wise words. Your team talk is very interesting and valuable. We learned a lot. Now it's time to pay our gratitude. I would like to invite Senior Professor Kamran Nange on behalf of the ICMA 2020 to deliver a token of appreciation to Senior Professor Ranavitha. Senior Professor KKDS Ranavitha, sir, please accept this modest gift as a symbol of our sincere thanks. Thank you very much. This concludes the first theme talk session of ICMA 2020. Thank you very much.